And Carl Pope joins me now in the studio. Nice to have you here.
Great to be here again.
Well, in your book, you say that it's time for a new type of conversation about climate change. What do you think is wrong with the way it's being discussed now, and how would you like to reframe the conversation?
Well, we have talked about climate change as this enormous problem which requires phenomenal sacrifice, and the conversation is who's going to pay the bill. That used to be true. It's not true anymore. Right now, climate change is an enormous economic opportunity, and the question is, who's going to take the lead? That's a different kind of conversation.
And you also point out that a lot of it has talked about very long-term consequences, not something that people can relate to now, talking about how to make money, not sacrifices, and focusing on polar bears, not asthmatic children.
That's exactly right. And if you look, for example, the conversation we're having, people don't realize that many of the states which have done the most to reduce their carbon footprint are states like Oklahoma and Texas, which did it not because they had governors who cared about climate change, they didn't, but because they had utility customers who wanted cheaper power, and wind is cheaper than coal.
And so there was a money-making incentive there.
And it was immediate. The utility rates in Texas have been coming down. Wholesale power rates in Texas have been coming down significantly because we're retiring coal and replacing it with natural gas, wind, and solar.
And, you know, much of the debate over climate change centers around doom and gloom scenarios. And you point out in the book that those scaring tactics don't really work with people. Why not?
Well, because, frankly, if you're trying to get somebody, if you're a rock climbing coach, and you're trying to get somebody to do a pitch that is harder than something they've done before, you don't get them to do it by saying, oh, my God, this is going to be hard. I'm not sure you can do this. This is really, I just don't know. No, you've got to say to the person you're coaching, you say, hey, this is like something you've done before, and I know you can do it, and you're going to have to stretch, you're going to have to work, you're going to have to be on. And that's what we need to tell people about climate change, not this is this catastrophic, awful thing that I don't think we can do it, and oh my God, the numbers are so bad. You say, wait a minute. We got rid of a class of refrigeration chemicals that were destroying the ozone layer. Now we have a class of refrigeration chemicals that are destroying the climate. But we know how to replace them with better stuff. We replaced the first set, we can replace this set. So we need to make it familiar and comfortable for people.
So let's expand on that, because you also write in the book that the major contributors to global warming are buildings, right? That is the electricity we use in our homes, our offices, also transportation, and the stuff we make, steel, toys, furniture. And so there are so many complex layers here. So what can I, as an individual, do? What are the top two things I can do to help fight climate change? Well,
it depends on who you are, because everybody has a different set of institutional connections. Everybody is people are part of families, they're part of communities, they vote for school boards, they work for companies, they may teach students, and in all of those roles, you have an opportunity to focus the conversation on how can we simultaneously make tomorrow better and do better today. And everybody has those opportunities. You just have to look around you and say, where do I have connection to other people, and how can I work with those other people to speed up the rate of progress towards better outcomes for the climate, which are also going to be better outcomes for making us wealthier and healthier.
So, and we have a couple of things going on right now, right? We have this American Lung Association report that just came out this week that says out of the top 10 U.S. cities with the most ozone pollution, 8 of them are in California, including Los Angeles, Sacramento, and Fresno. And at the same time, we have a federal government that is rolling back quite a few provisions of the Clean Air Act. And so what do you see, what effect do you see the Trump administration having on federal policies regarding climate change?
Well, the Trump administration is making federal policies horrible. It turns out that doesn't have to matter that much. For example, let's talk about air pollution in California. I've been working on this problem for 40 years. For 40 years, California has been trying to clean up the internal combustion engine. And we've done really a remarkable job. And for most of those 40 years, Washington was resisting. So most of the progress California made in cleaning up the car, which is now translated into national progress, was made by California without Washington. We now recognize we can't do the job with gas powered. We need to electrify vehicles, and that's how we're going to solve California's pollution problem. And California can take the lead, and is taking the lead on getting that done, even though Donald Trump wants to pretend that electric cars aren't better than internal combustion cars. They are.
But surely there must be some impacts, right? I mean, how is the administration's policies, viewpoints on climate change, for example, affecting the way that environmentalists are doing their work?
Well, it's affecting what environmentalists do, but what really matters is it affecting the way American electricity consumers behave? Is it affecting the way American drivers behave? Is it affecting the way American manufacturers behave? Not so much. They all look at the Trump administration and say, he's going to be there for a while. He's going to be gone. We're investing in the future. Well, there was a survey done of all the public utilities when Trump announced, I'm going to bring back coal. And one of the consulting firms went out to all the electric utilities and said, well, is this changing what you're investing in? And only one company out of 42 said that it would change their investment strategy. The rest said, we're not investing for the next 3 years. We're investing for the next 20 years. And the next 20 years, we need wind and solar.
And just real quickly, I mean, I have to ask you about this. In terms of strategies, local governments in California, New York City, for example, even Colorado this week, are now taking the strategy of suing oil and gas companies over the costs of climate change. Good or bad strategy? That's
a good strategy, and that strategy has now been joined by a conservative libertarian think tank in Washington. So we're beginning to see people coming in from the other side and saying, well, if the government's not going to hold the oil industry accountable, individual citizens can.
All right. Carl Pope, thank you. Nice to have you here.
Thanks to be with you.